Hello everybody, my name is Rebecca McDonald from Pure Earth Organics, and we help a lot of people here at the shop, and we often recommend products to people and we say, well, just throw it in your smoothie. And we're so surprised at how many people still ask us how to make a simple green smoothie. So we're going to go over that today. I wanted to just mention some of the reasons why you would do a green smoothie. Now that the season is changing, we're coming out of winter and we're kind of going into spring now. It's April here in Canada. So we're kind of leaving our old winter eating habits and we're moving into more of the spring, the green. It's coming into liver season. So that means we want to look for things that are fresh and green, things like sprouts. You see the first buds coming up in springtime, and that's the cue to kind of shift your eating too. Make it a little bit lighter, a little bit more simple, and it's when we kind of leave our warming elixirs and our more hearty milkshakes and transition more into greens and green smoothies. So it's one of my favorite times of year. I feel so good. This is a way that you can get everything into your diet that you need in one blender. And for me, with a family of 5, I love that I can make my kids their morning shake, and I know that they've got absolutely everything they need for the day in that smoothie, despite what else they choose to eat in the day. So some of the benefits of putting in these greens, like I said, is that it's clean out time. It's spring cleaning time, not only in your house, but also internally. And so these greens are, if you look at them underneath a microscope, the fiber in the greens actually looks like a little sponge. So these little sponges go in and they suck up toxins, they help clear out waste. So that fiber is really important. Dealing with a lot of irritable bowel and severe digestive problems in my early 20s, actually all the way up until about 25, I found a lot of help in the fiber and green smoothies. So it was kind of my springboard to everything else. They're detoxifying. You get chlorophyll from them, which we know chlorophyll is like the ultimate antibiotic, and also antibacterial and detoxifying. So they're also living. You have a beautiful amount of enzymes in all of this food that will also help to clean up and move some things out. So that is part of, why we would want to do the green smoothie, but let's get to some of the fundamental basics on how to make a simple green smoothie. So there's a few categories. We always want to look for a protein. We always put some carbs in there, your fruit, and some berries, and then your greens. It's very important to rotate your greens. So you can choose between things like kale and parsley. Liver season is right now in spring, so dandelion leaves would be really great. Mint. There's Swiss chard. It doesn't matter what you pick, but rotate it so that you're not always eating the same green. Another category that's really important that you're not going to want to miss is your fats. You want a little bit of fat because the fat helps deliver fat-soluble vitamins from the rest of your food. And the protein will make it a little bit more dense and help it carry throughout the day. And of course, you've got your simple sugars and some of your carbs in there too. So it's a nice, well-rounded meal. We're going to make this one very simple. So we're going to start with, I love mint. It smells so amazing. So we are going to take some mint. And of course, in your Vitamix, it always makes everything so much easier. If you have any high-powered blender, we'll do a good job of cracking these greens. So I start with a little bit of water, and obviously you want to pick the best water that you have access to. So good, clean spring water is always my favorite. We're going to put a bunch of mint in there. We're going to grab maybe a little bit of kale. And if all you have access to and all you have in your fridge is something like this, baby spinach, then use that too. Just remember to rotate your greens. And I put a good amount in there. A couple cups full of greens should be plenty. In a little bit of your water. So then you're going to put it on the base, and I like to blend my greens in there just because they're the most fibrous part, and I want them to be well blended into tiny little bits so that they're easily digestible. super long, but just enough till it kind of mixes everything in there. The mint makes it smell really good. So there's a few things that really help to break up the green flavor and the bitterness of that green. Bitter's so important. Most people don't have a problem eating sweet things, salty things, but they do have problems with bitter and sour is the season of the liver, so we need those things in our diet. So you have a nice green soupy sludge down there. Banana pretty much cuts any green taste. Pineapple cuts the green taste. Mango cuts that green taste. So you can use some of these berries and these fruits and things. It really takes the green flavor out of the greens if you have a problem with that. You get used to the greens after a while and you actually crave them and you love them. And so you can find yourself doing less fruit over time and more greens, more of that bitter. So put a little bit of mango in there. So I talked about our protein category. So what I'm going to use is hemp seeds for this. So we'll pour in a bunch of hemp seeds into there. When I'm doing my smoothies, I kind of like to leave them plant-based. Again, most people need help getting that plant vitamins into their diet. So when we talk about protein, you can use any kind of protein that you like, that you know works well with your tummy and that's good for you. We have some examples like Perfect Protein from Botanica. You know, I really like that one. It's clean and it's super simple. I also like Sun Warrior brand, does a really good job of it. Hemp seeds, goji berries. Find any kind of complete protein that you like and put that in there. So this green protein alchemy is another one that I really love to use. So again, you're getting a little bit more greens, more density with your protein. I'm going to put in a little bit of Botanicas. And I like to stay more whole food as well, but a little bit of this kind of protein sometimes helps to make it creamy and round it out a little bit more. So really any kind of protein that you like to work with. Let's go with, so here's a greens powder, and I also have another greens powder called Vitamineral Green, which has probably been my favorite all-time greens powder for like the last 15 years. So just to get a little bit more nutrition in there, a good complex green powder helps you to kind of cover your bases, especially if you're not eating like a multivitamin in a capsule. I much would rather get it from a whole food source. Pranin's just another example that does a really awesome job of a whole food greens powder. So these are just some examples. Dragon Herbs Tonic Alchemy as well. So there's some of our greens. We got some spinach, some kale, some mint. For our protein, any one of those will do, and a little bit of hemp seeds. Citrus also helps take away a little bit of that green, so I like to put one orange or even a lemon in your smoothie. And if you have an awesome blender like the Vitamix, you can put things in whole, which I love. So when I cut the edges of the orange off, I actually try to leave as much pith as I can, even though it's the bitter part. Again, that's the more medicinal part of the orange. Most of the minerals and the vitamins are in that pith. So you want to keep as much of it as you can. So we'll throw that in there. We've got our hemp, and then of course some kind of berry. This is going to be so antioxidant rich. So anything with a lot of color like that means that it has a ton of antioxidants and you want to eat it. And then of course frozen banana, because banana cuts everything and makes everything sweet. So just blob. It's like probably a banana, maybe a banana and a half in there. And I just cut mine in half or quarters and throw them in the freezer so that we are never out of bananas. So we'll give this, oh wait, I forgot one more thing. I forgot our fat category. So I talked about before, we need that fat to help deliver some of those fat-soluble vitamins. So some choices for fat. Some people like MCT oil. I prefer straight coconut oil. Something like an almond butter, also a little bit of protein. This one's a sprouted almond butter, so it's even better for you and more digestible. or things like pumpkin seed oil or avocado oil or any kind of fat that feels really good to you. Again, and the least amount of processing, the better. So we're gonna throw just a scoop of that in there. Flaxseed oil, that's another really amazing one that you can use. And I'll put maybe a tiny smidgen of this pumpkin seed oil in there. You can see how dark that beautiful pumpkin seed oil is. All right, I think we're good. I'm gonna give it a blend up. So after I kind of blend, I add a little bit more water, and I'll blend it again just for a little while so that it's not too sludgy. Okay, so this can last you half a day. You can put as many things as you want in here, but this is just a really good, simple one. And the reason why I haven't given you a recipe per se is because I feel like it's really important that people need to start eating more intuitively. And as you start eating more whole foods and making these smoothies, you'll find what works best for you. And also we change it with the seasons. And I feel like it's important to kind of experiment and get to know what works really well for you. See, this will make about 4 of these mason jars, which is perfect in our house because my husband will make a whole blender for himself and just drink that all day. But literally, it makes prepping food so simple and so easy that you just have absolutely no excuse not to make your green smoothie in the morning. Drink it, Naya. That one's for you. Okay. That is our basic smoothie recipe. Hey? So good. Yeah. So simple. And honestly, you have so much nutrition in this one little cup. It's my favorite way. When I was healing myself of really bad bowel problems, I pretty much lived on green smoothies and liquids for a while. So it's just so important to be able to get everything you need in one little shake. Okay, that's the basics. So pick whatever fruit you like. You know, maybe 3, that works good. Pear, blueberries, lemon, chunk of ginger. That's a great combination with the greens that we used again. But I want you to play with it yourself as long as you have some kind of protein, as long as you have greens and you change that up and you have some carbs and you have some really great, good fats. Whole food smoothie, there you go. So I tend to have a hard time just stopping at that, because I have all of these amazing products in here, and people will take a look at our shelves and they get really overwhelmed about making things and they don't know what to do with them or how to add them or how to use them. So these videos really are instructional for you so that you know how to use some of these products. Like I said, it is spring. It's liver season. So this would be like a great base recipe that's very simple and doesn't require a lot of ingredients. You can leave your greens powder out if all you have is those greens. Okay, so like I said, we're using this as an opportunity to get everything that we can in. Beetroot powder is one of those most amazing and underrated things for springtime. You can use whole beets for sure, but just having this handy and being able to throw it in my smoothie makes it so easy. These have methyl groups in them. They help detoxification. They're so great for the liver. So I love putting just a spoonful, and again, the color, the antioxidants, that red, blood building. So you really want to get beetroot powder in when you can, or eat the beets. Another thing that I never forget to add to, whether it's my milkshakes, my smoothies, my soups, my oatmeal, is medicinal mushrooms. And if you don't know a lot about medicinal mushrooms, we'll probably do a video on them later. But basically, liver life, as it says, good for the liver. These ones are kind of specifically chosen for that. But these are immune modulators. So you will find yourself and your kids not getting sick as often if you incorporate medicinal mushrooms into your everyday diet. You know, we're dealing with superbugs and things like that right now. This is like the other end of the spectrum. So much of our pharmaceutical that deal with that come from, like 80% or something comes from the medicinal mushroom kingdom. So eating this is like our protective category. So we love this one for spring. And the other one that you can start to add are pollens. So your bee pollen, your pine pollen, your sacred lotus pollen. You can tell I love New Earth. He does an awesome job. He also has the pine pollen and another one, I can't remember. But his pollens are all cracked cell. They're easy to absorb. If you find you have trouble digesting pollen, these are good for you because they're cracked cell. They're kind of already broken down a little bit, and they won't give you a stomachache like sometimes just eating straight bee pollen will. So pollen is another great thing to add into your diet. Again, can help with allergy season. So pollens are one other thing. And this one I haven't opened yet, so maybe I'll just talk about it. But this one is a collagen peptide. So these are collagen that will help with hair, joints, skin, nails. Our friends over at Weber Physio, they always say that they can tell it's springtime because people start coming in for joint and tendon issues. And they're like, this is a spring problem. People need to start eating more of their greens, and you can help it out too by focusing things with collagen. So if you do your bone broth already, that's great. I think that's ideal. But you can also add something like collagen peptides in it that are going to help with that joint and skin and collagen production. So that can all go into your smoothie. So these are just a few little extra things that you can add in for springtime that are really going to give you way more dense nutrition and value to your smoothie. And you'll see it's a nice pink color. That's another trick too. If you have kids who won't eat it because it's green, I mean, I used to always tell my little kids that it was just their Hulk juice. Blueberries tend to make it purple. The beetroot powder tends to make it pink. So it can kind of trick them a little bit if you need that help. But really what I want you to do is start playing with it yourself. Start really simple. Start with real food, whole food, and then maybe find one or two things that you can add in and grow from there until you're kind of comfortable with it. Oh, here's another one that I didn't mention, but that is sea buckthorn. Again, so amazing for springtime. It's great for cellular regeneration and repair and protection, and it's sour, so it's the season for liver as well. So just some ideas of things that you can add that we have here at Pure Earth that we are constantly trying to teach people how to use, but we thought we would do a quick video just for spring so that you can learn some things about what you can add for your smoothies.